What if an AI could generate a video of, say, a street interview,
Mm-hmm.
or even a stand-up comedy set that looks and sounds, well, completely real,
Yeah,
blurring that line between what's reality and what's artificial?
it's getting there, isn't it? That's sort of the unsettling capability we're seeing with Google's new thing, VO3.
Right. But maybe even more significant. The sources say VO3 is the first major model out there to generate both high-quality video and synchronized audio,
Mm-hmm.
just from one text prompt. Effectively, as Google puts it, ending the silent era of AI video.
Video meet audio.
Oh,
That's their
yeah.
tagline, right?
Yeah.
And it feels, pretty apt. It really captures this leap.
It really does. So, okay, we're naming this deep dive. Video Meet Audio, unpacking Google VO3 and the future of generative film.
Good title.
Our mission today, using the sources you shared, is basically to cut through the hype, the jargon, and figure out what VO3 is, how it stacks up against the competition, and what its arrival really means for, well, the future of creative stuff.
And if you want to stay plugged into these developments, they happen so fast, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notifications for the deep dive. You won't want to miss future explorations.
Absolutely. Stick with us through this dive, and you'll get, I think, a really clear understanding of what's genuinely groundbreaking about VO3.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll look at actual examples of how it's being used, like right now, to make content that honestly felt impossible just, what, a few months ago?
Crazy timeline.
Yeah.
All right, so with that roadmap, let's dive into the source material. What stands out about this latest step in AI video?
Let's start with the basics, the technical foundation.
Yeah.
What exactly is this VO3 under the hood?
Okay, so at its core, it's Google DeepMind's state-of-the-art generative video model. The sources explain it builds on DeepMind's existing, pretty advanced video transformer architecture.
Okay, so complex AI models, not something simple. Got it.
Exactly. And it's like tightly coupled with Google's Gemini AI.
Ah, Gemini.
Yeah, Gemini provides the natural language understanding part.
Mm.
And that connection is really crucial. It lets VO3 interpret complex text descriptions, narrative prompts, with nuance.
So it's not just make a cat video, it's understanding story.
Right, going beyond simple objects to grasp intent, mood, story elements.
And where does it learn all this? The video and sound stuff.
Well, it was trained on a massive multimodal data set. Google hasn't spelled out the exact ingredients, but given their assets,
YouTube.
it seems highly likely, yeah. Leveraging vast amounts of paired video and audio data. The sources specifically point to DeepMind's earlier research in, like, aligning sound with video.
Okay.
And that research seems pretty key to VO3's ability not just to make pictures move, but to, quote, understand the raw pixels and sync up the right sounds.
Like dialogue or background noise or music.
Exactly. Whether it's speech, ambient sounds, music, it generates it all appropriately synchronized.
So that past research is kind of the secret sauce for the audio sync.
It looks like a big factor. And you really see the impact in what it spits out. We're talking high-definition video.
HD. Okay.
Initially, for this public preview phase, it's generating at 1280 by 720 resolution, 24 frames per second. Clips are currently maxing out around 8 seconds, though.
8 seconds. That feels a bit short, doesn't it? Compared to some others we've heard about.
It does. That's definitely a limitation right now if you're thinking longer scenes. But the quality of what it makes in those 8 seconds is, well, notable.
And the key thing is that integrated audio again.
That's the headline feature, yeah. It generates dialogue, sound effects, music natively from the text prompt, all synchronized. This is what Google's pushing hard with, video meet audio, saying they're ending that silent era.
So the whole process of generating a silent video and then having to find or create audio separately, that might be on its way out.
That seems to be the goal Google's shooting for, yeah.
Yeah.
And the visual quality is impressive too, according to the sources. Smooth motion, consistent lighting, it handles physics surprisingly well.
Physics, like things move realistically.
Yeah, objects move naturally, lighting and shadows stay consistent.
Yeah.
And they specifically call out the realism with human features, facial expressions, body proportions, and yes, even managing the notoriously tricky 5-fingered hands.
Wait, it gets the hands right. That's kind of wild for AI.
That was definitely highlighted as a big step up.
Oh.
They report lip sync accuracy is around 0.1 seconds.
Which is pretty good.
Very good for AI, yeah. There's this example of an old sailor at sea.
Okay.
It generated not just the visual of him, but his spoken dialogue and the sounds of the ship, the waves, all in sync, all from the prompt.
Wow. And how do you actually, use it? Is it just typing in text?
Primarily text prompts, yeah, using that Gemini understanding. But you can also give it a picture, an image condition prompt.
Like for style?
Exactly. Use a reference image for style or maybe composition.
Mm.
Direct video prompted like feeding it a video clip to extend or modify.
Yeah.
That's apparently on the roadmap.
Okay, so not quite there yet.
Not for general use, it seems. But the immediate, groundbreaking thing is that integrated audio from text.
Okay, so it's this powerful engine, high-quality video with sound from a description. Where does it fit in the bigger Google picture, and how do people actually get access?
Right. This is where Google's strategy gets pretty clear. Veo 3 isn't just floating out there alone.
No.
No, it's deeply woven into their whole AI ecosystem. Gemini AI is right there working behind the scenes, especially in Google's Flow tool.
Flow, the creative tool.
Yeah, Gemini helps interpret, understand, even rewrite your natural language prompts before they hit Veo 3, trying to get better results.
So Gemini acts like a sort of AI prompt assistant for you.
Within Flow, yeah, that seems to be part of its job. Helping translate your idea into something the model understands well. It also links up with Imagen 4.
Google's image model.
Right. So you could use Imagen to create, say, a character portrait, and then feed that ingredient into Flow for Veo to use in the video.
Okay, that's pretty integrated. And access. Is this something anyone can just try out?
This is where it gets restrictive, at least for now. For consumers, creators, it's mainly built into the Gemini app and powers the Flow Creative tool.
Okay.
For developers, it's accessible via Vertex AI on Google Cloud. And there are hints it might eventually pop up in workspace apps, like Slides or Meet. It also connects to other tools like Whisk for images.
But it's not like a free-for-all.
Definitely not yet. Consumer access is mainly tied to the Google AI Ultra subscription.
Ultra, which costs how much?
$249.99 per month.
Wow. Okay. $250 a month.
Yeah, and initially only available in the US.
That's a pretty steep price point, isn't it? Especially compared to some other AI tools out there.
It is. Ultra is positioned as the tier that gives you the highest usage quotas and access to these, cutting-edge models like Veo 3 with audio and flow.
Right.
And they contrast this with the cheaper Google AI Pro plan that's $19.99 a month. Pro includes Flow, but doesn't give you Veo 3's full video and audio power.
I see. So Veo 3 is being framed as a premium feature, early access, for their top-tier subscribers.
Pretty much, yeah.
And what about for businesses or developers who want to build on it?
Through Vertex AI on Google Cloud, it's currently a private preview. You need to get on an allow list.
Okay, so hoops to jump through.
Seems like it. Public pricing isn't final, but there's speculation based on Veo 2, which was around 50 cents a second. So an 8-second clip via the API could maybe cost a few dollars.
So, bottom line, no free tier right now. A hefty price for consumers, waitlist for developers. That's a very different approach to access than, say, Sora or Pika.
It certainly is. It really suggests Google's initially targeting, serious creators, maybe enterprise users, who are willing to pay that premium for the absolute latest capabilities rather than going for broad consumer adoption right away.
Right. Speaking of competitors, how does Veo 3 stack up against the big names we keep hearing about? OpenAI's Sora, Runway, Pika.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting, and Google's been quite deliberate in pointing out Veo 3's strengths. Let's start with Sora. Obviously made huge waves when it was announced.
Yeah, Sora felt like a massive leap.
It did. Similarities. Both are doing text or image to high-quality video. Both are pushing the state-of-the-art.
Okay.
But key differences pop up pretty quickly. Sora can generate longer clips. Up to 20 seconds for public users, apparently even 60 seconds in some research demos.
Compared to Veo 3's initial 8 seconds.
Exactly. Sora also handles flexible aspect ratios and up to 1080p resolution. Veo 3 starts at 720p, though they say 4K is on the roadmap.
So Sora seems to have an edge on length and maybe format flexibility for now.
On paper, yeah, for duration. But many observers who've seen demos of both feel Veo 3 might have pushed a bit further on the realism, the consistency of physics within a clip, and those fine details.
Like the hands and expressions you mentioned?
Exactly. The sources note Veo 3 rarely breaks continuity and handles things like hands with maybe more accuracy than early Sora examples showed.
Okay, so maybe Veo 3 trades that longer clip length for potentially more consistent, higher fidelity realism in those shorter bursts.
That seems to be the current trade-off, yeah. But the major differentiator, the one Google is really hammering home.
The audio.
The audio. Sora outputs are completely silent.
Still.
Veo 3 generates native synchronized audio right along with the video from the get-go,
Yep.
as one source bluntly put it comparing them. Sora, still no sound.
Wow. Okay.
OpenAI has said they're working on audio, sure, but Google clearly beat them to the punch with Veo 3's public launch having it integrated.
That's a massive difference for anything involving dialogue, music, or just making a scene feel real, isn't it?
It completely changes the game for certain use cases.
Hmm.
Now, in
Yep.
terms of control features, Sora has things like video-to-video prompting,
Hmm.
a storyboard-like interface. Veo 3 has Flow's scene builder, which is kind of analogous,
Mm-hmm.
but direct video input isn't widely out there yet. But again, accessibility, big difference. Sora is available via ChatGPT Plus for $20 a month.
Way cheaper than Google's Ultra.
Significantly.
Yeah.
Both are available via cloud APIs for developers, but that consumer entry price is starkly different.
Okay. What about Runway? Runway Gen 3, they've been in this space for a while, innovating.
Yeah, Runway ML has a strong track record. Gen 3 is definitely capable. Similarities, text image to video, evolving features like camera controls.
Right.
Differences. Runway seems to put a much stronger emphasis on user control and stylistic creativity. Tools like Motion Brush, Director Mode. It feels more like AI-assisted video editing or art direction.
Ah, okay.
Veo 3, especially through Flow, seems more geared towards generating a polished, often realistic, maybe cinematic-looking clip more directly from the prompt, kind of a more automated filmmaking output.
So Runway is maybe more for artists who really want to get in there and tweak and guide the AI output.
That seems to be their niche and strength. And like Sora, Runway Gen 3 outputs are currently silent.
Still no sound there either.
Nope. Their clips are also short, typically 5–10 seconds in the current alpha. And while Runway is getting better, its outputs can sometimes lean more stylized or occasionally produce artifacts like slightly uncanny faces compared to Veo 3's stated goal of consistent photorealism.
Got it.
Runway is more accessible than Veo 3 Ultra, though, around $12 a month for a standard plan. And the sources do mention that Runway's earlier features probably influenced Google's development, showing how this field built on itself.
Makes sense. And the last one, Pika Labs. Known for being fast, easy to use, especially on Discord.
Pika is another key player, yeah. Similarities. Text image to video, focus on speed, ease of use, short clips, maybe up to 10 seconds.
Okay.
Differences. Pika often produces results that feel more animated or stylized. Less focus on that strict photorealism you see named for with Veo 3 or Sora. And
I have to
crucially,
guess, silent.
silent.
Like-
Exactly. It seems like Veo 3's audio is the big stick they're using to beat the competition right now.
It really stands out.
It does. Pika uses concepts like Pika frames for keyframing, scene ingredients, which are kind of similar to features in Flow, but generally simpler. Pika is known for being fast, user-friendly, often easy to access like through their Discord bot, low barrier to entry. Quality is improving, but outputs can still look a bit more like CGI, maybe something from a game engine, compared to the photorealism Veo 3 is targeting. It doesn't have that deep language model like Gemini backing up, so prompts tend to be simpler, and it might struggle more with complex multi-part scenes.
So maybe Pika is more like a rapid creative tool, a prototyping scratchpad.
That's a good way to put it. And the sources explicitly say Veo 3's launch kind of exploited Pika's lack of sound.
Okay, so if you had to sum up the competitive view, where does Veo 3 sit?
All right, Veo 3's unique selling points right now. That native synchronized audio, that's huge. Plus, it's reported top-tier realism and fidelity to the prompt, especially with tricky details like hands.
Okay, limitation.
Current limitations.
Yeah.
The short clip length, only 8 seconds publicly.
Yeah.
And the restricted, pretty expensive access model.
Right, the $250 price tag.
Yeah. Now, Sora's strengths. Longer clips, potentially more features like storyboarding, and much broader access via ChatGPT+. Major weakness. No audio, and maybe slightly less consistent realism than Veo 3, based on early takes.
Okay, Runway.
Runway strengths. Creative control. Stylistic options. Established user base. Weaknesses. Again, no audio. Short clips. Less focus on pure realism.
And Pika.
Pika's strengths.
Yay.
Speed, ease of use, accessibility for quick ideas. Weaknesses. Mute. Less capable of complex photorealism or intricate prompts. So yeah, Veo 3 has definitely raised the bar by adding sound natively. It forces everyone else to play catch-up on that front.
Let's talk about what people are actually doing with it. We've seen some demos mentioned. What are the real-world use cases standing out?
Yeah, the sources show it's being tested across the board. From like seasoned Hollywood filmmakers to digital artists, social media creators. Google is clearly making strategic partnerships.
Like who?
Well, acclaimed director Darren Aronofsky, for instance.
Oh, okay.
He's using Veo in a project called Ancestra, apparently blending live-action footage with AI-generated visuals. It's even slated to premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2025.
That sends a pretty clear message, doesn't it? Google isn't just targeting hobbyists. They're aiming for serious professional film use.
Absolutely. It lends major legitimacy in the eyes of the industry. We're also seeing indie filmmakers, like a guy named Dave Clark, using Flow and Veo for things like concepting action movie sequences.
Like car chases or something.
Yeah, planning out camera angles, adding sounds, voiceovers. He tweeted it felt like a new era of filmmaking. Another creator, Hashem Moghili, known for viral science stuff, used it for meta short films with AI actors. So concept art, trailer ideas, short film production. It's being used.
And then there are those demos you mentioned earlier, the ones that feel a bit unsettling because they look so real.
Yes, that's where it gets really fascinating and, yeah, like slightly eerie. That Min Choi street interview demo is a perfect example.
Right, tell me about that one again.
It links uncannily real. Like an AI reporter talking to AI respondents on a street corner. The dialogue sounds convincing. There's ambient city noise.
Wow.
It just showcases VO3's power in generating mundane realism. It blurs that line between watching actual documentary footage and an AI creation in a way that really makes you do a double take.
That one definitely stuck with me. It felt so possible.
Exactly. Another really striking one was Mark Gadala Maria's stand-up comedy scene.
The comedy club.
Yeah. An AI comedian on stage, holding a mic, the timing of the jokes, the laughter from the AI audience, the lip sync. The sources called it the whole package. It captured the essence of a comedy performance. It showed VO3 can handle synchronized dialogue, multiple sound layers, even timing cues, all within that single generated clip.
So it's not just making pretty pictures move, it's generating performance.
It's certainly capable of simulating performance and narrative structure to a surprising degree. We've also seen things like action and gaming parodies.
Like what?
Like a convincing fake Fortnite gameplay clip, complete with a streamer reaction in a picture-in-picture box. Or a sitcom scene that included a laugh track.
It generated the laugh track, too.
Yeah, the fact it can generate that specific sound cue, the laugh track, perfectly synced with the visuals is pretty telling. And there are demos of AI singers with really accurate lip sync to the generated song.
It sounds incredibly versatile, from hyper-realism to, like, genre parodies.
It does show a huge range. And it's not just for making finished videos. People using it for practical workflow stuff, too.
How so?
Like generating realistic clips for pre-visualization in film production, or demonstrating physics, like that demo of a paper boat floating down a gutter in the rain, or creating concepts for stock footage quickly.
Right.
Others are just experimenting with imaginative mashups, like a wizard appearing on a talk show set. Looked like a real TV clip, just with a fantasy element dropped in.
So it's also being used as a tool for rapid prototyping, brainstorming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Filmmakers like Henry Dobrez are mentioned using Flow and Veo for quick storyboarding, iterating fast on ideas, trying out shots that might be way too expensive or physically impossible to test out for real. Google's branding this as AI-powered filmmaking, positioning the AI as a collaborator, something that augments human creativity, lets artists explore ideas faster and with more freedom.
So the early uses really span the gamut: high-end professional concepts, experimental art, practical workflow tools, viral social media stuff.
Precisely. And the early feedback reflects that. You see awe at the technical power and the potential, but also that sense of unease or eeriness because the realism is so intense and really blurs that line.
Yeah.
Future uses seem vast. Advertising spots, educational clips, game cutscenes, maybe more previews or even VFX work in film and TV. The key seems to be using it with human direction, like that source mentioning a project about two adopted brothers, showing the focus is still on human stories. VO3 seems to have genuinely lit the spark for this next wave of generative media.
And this all fits neatly into Google's bigger plan, doesn't it? What's their strategic vision here? How are they positioning VO3?
Oh, absolutely. Google is clearly aiming to lead in generative video. VO3 is a cornerstone of that strategy. They're presenting it not just as one tool, but part of a whole creative suite.
Right, with Imagen for images.
Exactly. VO3 for video, Imagen 4 for images, Lyria 2 for music, all kind of unified and powered by Gemini AI. Their message is about offering breathtaking images, videos, and music, providing amazing tools for everyone.
Although, as we discussed, everyone currently means everyone willing to pay $250 a month.
Right. There's that asterisk for now. But the ecosystem play is key. Get you onto their platform with one strong tool, and you'll likely use the others too.
That deep integration seems like a major differentiator for them.
It is. Flow, that dedicated tool, is designed specifically to make Veo, Imagen, and Gemini work smoothly together. Gemini's role in simplifying prompts, letting you just say, "Rainy night in Paris, detective chases thief," And have Gemini help translate that for VO plays right into Google's core strength in language models, making complex AI creation feel more accessible.
And they're definitely pushing the quality angle, positioning it as the best.
Yes, very deliberately. You hear terms like state-of-the-art, best-in-class quality a lot. By highlighting things like 4K capability, accurate lip sync, solving the hand problem, they're directly addressing known weaknesses in generative AI and trying to claim the technological high ground.
Right.
That video meet audio tagline isn't just descriptive, it's a claim to leadership, delivering a complete synchronized output, challenging that silent status quo.
And the partnerships, like with Aronofsky, fit into that quality narrative too.
Totally. Partnering with established creators does a few things. It gives them valuable, real-world feedback to improve the tools. It helps counter the AI is replacing artists' fear by showing it as an augmentation tool.
Yeah.
And it lends serious credibility. Having an AI-assisted project premieres at Tribeca. That's a powerful statement about the tech's potential in professional circles.
It really feels like a very strategic move in the ongoing AI platform war.
It absolutely is. Bundling these models under the Google AI brand with tiered plans like Ultra, they're building a competitive ecosystem. VO3 is that premium marquee feature designed to pull users into the expensive Ultra plan, positioning Google as the one-stop shop for cutting-edge multimodal AI, directly taking on OpenAI's suite and others.
But with this level of realism, there are obvious concerns, right? Deepfakes, misinformation.
Google seems acutely aware of those. The sources acknowledge the realism is amazing and also terrifying, that it creates a sense that real and fake have become hopelessly blurred.
So what are they doing about it?
They're trying to address potential misuse. They're implementing synthide watermarking, embedding an invisible permanent watermark on every single frame generated by VO3.
Okay.
And they've also released a public synthide detector tool so people can check if content might be AI generated using their system.
So trying to position themselves as the responsible ones in this space.
That's definitely a key part of their messaging. Emphasizing responsible AI development. Highlighting the limited rollout allows society time to adapt, they argue. The watermarking feels like a preemptive move. Better we release it with safety rails than someone else releases something similar without them.
And their ambitions seem to go even further, beyond just these web tools.
Looks like it. There are hints about integrating this kind of tech into Android eventually, into their AR/XR work, like a Project Muhan,
Yeah.
and significantly, potentially, into YouTube.
YouTube. Wow.
Yeah, imagine a Create with AI button on YouTube, powered by something like Veo, generating new videos or enhancing existing ones. That's a massive potential implication, though not explicitly announced for VO3 yet. Their strategy seems to be lead the tech development so you can also shape the standards and norms around its use.
It really sounds like they're using VO3, especially that killer audio feature, as the spearhead to claim tech leadership right now.
That's absolutely the goal. Launching Ultra, saying it has the best of Google AI, they're staking a claim to having the most advanced models across image, video, and audio. VO3 is central because video generation is hard, and adding synchronized audio at this level is a huge technical feat they're using to differentiate themselves, especially from Sora, explicitly pointing out that audio advantage.
So VO3 is clearly way more than just another tool for making short clips.
Much, much more. It's a cornerstone of Google's whole generative AI strategy. It showcases their tech edge, it's tightly integrated into their ecosystem, it's targeting pros and enterprise, and it's being positioned, at least outwardly, with an emphasis on responsibility. Their ambitions for the future of video content are huge, and it's definitely setting the stage for some intense competition ahead.
This deep dive really hammered home that VO3 isn't just about generating video. It's video with integrated, synchronized audio. It's pushing realism boundaries and could genuinely change creative workflows, maybe even how we consume media.
It feels like a really significant moment, yeah, in how generative AI is evolving.
And that brings it back to you, the listener. Think about what this actually means for you. Maybe you're a creator looking at these new tools. Maybe you're a consumer and just trying to figure out what's real anymore online. Or maybe you're just trying to keep up with AI. How will we tell the difference between AI video and real video down the line? How will tools like this empower totally new kinds of stories?
Yeah, it makes you revisit that first question, doesn't it? If AI can generate a street interview or a documentary clip that looks and sounds basically indistinguishable from reality,
Yeah.
what kind of fundamental shift does that create in how we perceive media, how we consume it, maybe even how we trust it?
It raises a very important question.